Hello everybody, my name is Haitze. I'm 30 years old and I have schizophrenia. And I'm currently in psychiatric detention on parole. And I like stories with one animal that's really small and another one that's really big, like the elephant and the mouse. I often hallucinated that I'm peeing my pants, and in 2022 I lit my own house on fire and went to jail. And I basically like all foods, and I love long walks on the beach. First, let me tell you my life story so you get a picture of me and you get to know me. I was a little rascal as a kid. I once got a huge puzzle and I thought, I'm never going to be able to finish this puzzle. I need to live forever to finish this puzzle. So I thought I'd become a scientist and study aging. I studied biomedical science first, but later I learned that we're probably going to die anyway, we're not going to make it. And I also got more interested in women around the time. I also got schizophrenia. So I thought, okay, let's learn how to code and move to Africa and get a hot nigger girlfriend. But before that happened, my phone and laptop seems to have gotten hacked. I thought so, and everyone in my life acted all weird, so I thought, tell me what's going on, or I'll do this and I'll do that. And they didn't tell me what was going on, and I did this and that, and I went to jail. And in jail, I thought, okay, maybe I can become a comedian and get a girlfriend that way. And that's where we are right now. True story, that's my little life story. Okay. So I really do have schizophrenia. And not that long ago, I was talking to my new psychiatrist and he asked me, do you remember how it started? And I said, yeah, I actually do. Okay, tell me. And I said, I was walking through the park with my rubber duck in my hand, as one does, and I heard a voice. I heard a voice say, I bet you can't get a real one. And I was looking around the park to the pond, and I saw a very judgmental look, a very disapproving look. And I felt the urge to say something back. I wanted to say, like, it's not like that, it's just for when I'm in the bath, but I was already in the park, so that didn't make any sense. But then I thought, if I'm going to start talking to dogs, people are going to think I'm nuts. And that's how it started, with that voice. Anyways, I do really lead a pretty normal life nowadays, although the other day was a weird one for me. I woke up with a blackout, I couldn't remember what had happened last night, and a midget in my living room. And when I asked him, excuse me, but what are you doing here? He said my girlfriend had called him with a weird request and said he might be of service again later. At first I thought, which girlfriend? And then I thought, oh no, surely not. Look, let me tell you. I have a holistic therapist and it took a while, but I'm comfortable with him now. Comfortable enough to share something personal. So a few sessions ago I said, look, since 2017 I've been battling erectile dysfunction and I don't really know how to deal with it. So the sweet man says, say no more, I'm your guy. I've dealt with this personally, and what really helped me was to start with a small person, a really small person, or a midget, and put them in the corner of your bedroom and have him say things like, oh God, he's so big, or oh, I'm a little scared. Just look for yourself what the key sentences are to really give you that boost to perform. Could be, oh no, I really don't dare to watch. Trust me, this is miracle therapy. So I thought, okay, I'll remember that. So you see, by now I figured out what must have happened that night. And I don't have the midget anymore, but I just used my smallest friend. And the sentence that works best for me is, ooh, I'm a little scared. Eventually I got a girlfriend though, and she wasn't fully comfortable with a third person in the bedroom saying things. So I had to go back. I went back to my holistic therapist and said, look, I have a girlfriend now, she isn't fully comfortable with the situation. Have you got anything else? You get it, right? And he says, well, I do have this one method, but this one is a little alternative. So I say, okay, I guess I'm also open to something a little alternative. And he goes, do you and your girlfriend have a song? I go, yes, J-Ho from the Pussycat Dolls. He goes, okay, perfect. If you, whenever you set a new PR in the gym or you receive a gift, just yell J-Ho. That's really going to work. It's a psychological trick and it's really going to help you. So I've been occasionally yelling J-Ho at the gym and whenever I receive a gift or at a positive event, and it really did work. Until this one time I was at the Starbucks and I was drinking my coffee and I spilled my drink and I heard someone behind me yell J-Ho. I thought, ah shit, my arch enemy. And I don't know how he found out, but he's been following me around and yelling J-Ho whenever I feel that something. So now I'm stuck with the same problem again. I really hope AI is going to fix it. Talking about AI and the internet and stuff, a week ago I had this dream. I dreamt that I was on Poly Market betting on world events and I betted on the news coming out that the CIA had the phones of the Muslim Brotherhood and the Ayatollah of Iran hacked. And by tracking their real usage and micro-expressions, they made them unconsciously addicted to the most haram, pig-filled AI bestiality porn by showing them progressively arousing tiny fragments. And then on a live event in Saudi, they showed them a full fragment of the AI classified porn and they came in their pitched already tent-like outfits and one shouted, one nodded Islam, and all Muslims worldwide would convert to the Church of Cthulhu. And it was just on that day that I left my toothbrush in my mouth as I left the house and tied my shoelaces to the person next to me on the train and ripped him off his chair as I got out. Coincidence? Now for some cultural commentary. I read that SSRIs have as a side effect that they might make you want to dress up your pet as a member of the Avengers. And I'm sorry, but what the fuck? I mean, think about that logically. If you think it's a possible side effect of SSRIs to make you want to dress up your pet as a member of the Avengers, you just don't understand the world. That's way too vague. Now, if it said it might make you want to dress up your cat as Captain America, now that would make sense, then I would understand. That's a joke about RFK Jr. saying SSRIs, antidepressants cause school shootings. In that same train, I happen to train BBB, not breast, butt, belly, but blood-brain barrier. See, RFK Jr., the United States Secretary of Health, says that Wi-Fi weakens the blood-brain barrier. So I feared that's true and learned about it, and I thought I can train my blood-brain barrier. So whenever I have a drink or smoke weed, I plug in 3 or 4 routers and I turn on my mobile hotspot and hold my phone to my head, and I get wasted off just one beer. It really works. A few years ago I got a present for my family, batik. Tada! Batik is Thai for seal sanctuary or umbrella with horn. It's also Indonesian for shirt. And when I'm wearing my batik and I'm feeling very Indonesian, I like to go out for lunch, for nasi especially. I was going out for social lunch with some friends and we were just talking, just going through our days, going through our week, what's going on. And sometimes when I'm doing this, after a while I have a moment where I'm like, hold on, wait a minute. You just want to poison some wild boar or deer with your saliva. Well, I see you guys thinking, and you may have guessed it by now, but I have Komodo dysmorphia. The condition where you slowly start to believe your friends and family have been replaced by Komodo dragons, dressed up as these people. This can have a very unsettling effect and has really impacted my well-being. But over the years, I've learned to handle this condition. I've learned to use certain tools. Now I challenge myself to French kiss these Komodo dragons, and this way I can tell, hey, the saliva is not poisonous, so this is not a Komodo dragon. This way I've learned to deal with the condition. Anyways, I was on a holiday to the States, and while I was there and I was sitting by a river, I saw a guy in a boat and he was going, "What's wrong with the boat? The boat that I'm on." He was panicking, screaming, and I was like, "Dude, I don't know, it seems like a perfect boat to me." That makes you wonder, like, what would he have? Anyways, after that I went for the exit. I was going away and I opened the door, stepped through it, closed the door behind me, and it was dark. And I felt around me and I felt walls. And then it hit me. I thought, oh no, embarrassing. I walked into a closet. I thought this was the exit, but I walked into a closet. And then I had to get out, so everyone saw me walk into a closet for no reason and step out again. It was so embarrassing. And it did end up being a great vacation though. I even French kissed the person and then knew, of course, for sure it was a person. It was a girl named Raven Bird. And she is now very fat. She was 2 back then, but she is now 2. And Raven Bird knew her statistics very well. She knew what percentage of birds were still homeless, considering we've been building houses for these beasts for years. After the nice vacation though, I ended up having a psychological crisis. I was totally stressed out at home, having a psychological crisis, and I wanted to do what I always do when I have a psychological crisis. Count the things in my favorite color. But I'd forgotten my favorite color. So I thought I'd do something completely different. Light my house on fire. So first I went on the neighborhood WhatsApp group and said, hey guys, I'm just going to light my house on fire, don't be stressed, don't worry. I warned everyone on Facebook that, guys, in a moment I'll be lighting my house on fire, just letting you know. And after I did that, I went to the supermarket and got flammable stuff. I got lighters and matches, and I went back home with the stuff all ready to go, ready to set my house on fire. Suddenly my cousin comes over. And he's like, blah blah blah, we love you, blah 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 blah, I don't want you to light your house on fire, we love you, we saw your messages on Facebook. And I'm like, whoa, dude, can't you see I'm busy? I'm trying to start a fire here, you're literally in the way. And he keeps talking, and long story short, psychiatrist comes over and he says, sit down, I have to tell you something. Whatever, dude, I'm just trying to light my house on fire. And he goes, you have schizophrenia. I go, schizophrenia? Is that cool? Is that something I can show up with? Can I go like, hey, I got schizophrenia? And he goes, it's a very serious condition. And he smiles at me and he winks. So I think he's trying to make a move. And I also want to be sure he isn't the Komodo dragon, so I try to French kiss him, and he flinches, moves back and says, no, my cat will be jealous. Okay, time for a very little mindfulness break. Close your eyes for a second. 1 deep breath. Feel the breath go through your nose. Okay, feel yourself sitting and continue watching. I did really go to prison, that's a true story. The total time I spent in detention is 3 years. And once in jail, right before we were about to go to the yard, I felt funny and I wanted to fuck with people, so I said to the guard, hey guard, I forgot my favorite color. And he goes, oh, well, let's go look for it. And I go, okay. And he walks to my cell and he starts looking through my cell, in the closet, even under the bed. And after a while of looking, I tell him, hey, guard, I still don't know my favorite color. And he says, okay, well, we'll find it later, we'll go to the yard now. And that really summarizes my interactions with people in those institutions. Nothing I said fully went into their brain. They did notice when I was speaking, but that's truly about it. I actually miss something from prison. What I really miss from prison is that you could really express your needs, especially in a job interview. You could really express your needs. I remember this story from prison. Sean, who went for a job interview. He told me about it. I'll tell the story right now. It goes like this. Sean goes for the job interview. He goes, hi, I'm Sean. John, as in John Wick, or John as in John from Garfield? No, Sean. I said Sean. But aren't John Wick and John from Garfield the same kind of John? But whatever, it's Sean. Oh, okay, Sean. Alright. What I don't see on your CV is a shoe tying diploma and a driver's license. Alright, well, I always wear Velcro, never got my diploma, but I'm willing to take a course if the expenses are covered by the company. Alright, and a driver's license? Right, I do have a driver's license, I just figured I didn't need to put it on my CV. Okay. I also see you did a chicken training course. If I may ask, training a chicken into what? Right. I thought it was training a chicken into a goose like Pokemon, but turns out it was training a chicken to peck things of a certain color. It was a huge disappointment for me and my nephew. Alright, Sean, whatever. Sean, one more question. Where do you see yourself in 5 years? Where do I see myself in 5 years? Alright, let me close my eyes and envision that. I'm with a Colombian prostitute. She doesn't speak English. And as I try to get my phone out to translate, would you suck my balls? Her phone starts playing an episode of Rick and Morty in English. We're both confused. And she's a little bit scared. I meant, where do you see yourself in 5 years at our company? Oh, where do I see myself in 5 years at your company? Okay, let me close my eyes and envision that again. I'm at your company. I have shoes with laces. And I'm with a Colombian prostitute. She doesn't speak English. Okay, never mind. Alright, we've talked enough. I don't think this is going to work out. Goodbye. I recently saw a statement by a political party that says police dogs should only be allowed to fine other dogs. And I think that's symbolic. It is symbolic. You see, a police dog is usually a German Shepherd. And dogs are happy. And a happy German is not a real threat and should be allowed to correct other happy people. Eckhart Tolle is a happy German, and his teachings are often best received by other happy people. But I don't think that means he shouldn't be allowed to teach someone with mental illness. So I didn't vote for that political party. Alright, again, let's be serious for a minute. Like I said, I do really have schizophrenia. I have had schizophrenia since 2017, and it can be an incredibly dark state to be in. I've had all sorts of horrible hallucinations, thinking you're peeing your pants in public, to literally thinking you're being tortured, delusions about people trying to kill you or knowing for sure you're going to die, hearing voices telling you to kill yourself, hearing voices saying terrible stuff, terrible delusions, just horrific stuff. And eventually in 2017-18, my friends did notice I was less comfortable in my own skin, and I told them about it. And one friend, let's call him Tim for now, said, well, let's talk about it over dinner. And he invited me over for dinner, so I came over for dinner. And first I started chit-chatting a little bit, and eventually he brought up the awkward, sensitive subject, and with difficulty he wanted to ask me, and do you also have these symptoms, this hallucination, does it ever, something like that ever happens at work? And I immediately thought of a moment the week before at work, so I said, well, a week ago at work I was in the bicycle stand and I saw a banana. And I immediately thought, Tim hid this banana here for me. Tim is going around town to hide bananas for me to find. And while I was saying that, while I was remembering that, I immediately realized how funny that delusion was. So I decided to not give him any time to respond and to talk over it with other more serious stuff. So I said, and I also hear voices, and I just talked over it and didn't give him any time to respond. And he didn't. And to this day, so let's call him Tim, he might still think that I think he hides bananas for me. Sometimes I think about the dichotomy between the professional and the amateur version of things. Take for example the professional version. Take the career criminal. It's often terrifying, it's terrible, it's a threat to society, and they're the organized crime. But on the other side, you have the hobby criminal, and they are great and useful. Again, amateur professional. And take amateur child porn. It's horrible, it's horrific, possibly the worst thing in the world. But on the other side, the child porn star is just a star, leads a glamorous lifestyle, and who wouldn't want to be one? Okay, dance break interruption. I call this move, is there something under my foot and where am I? Talking about sex a little bit, people always say about me that they can't guess my sexual orientation when they meet me. And I'm like, yeah, duh, how would you guess my sexual orientation? You could guess, I guess, that I'm straight. But actually, mine bends a little bit to the left. But how would you guess that, right? Anyways, puberty was such a weird time for me. I only fucked one citrus fruit, and that was because I saw a video online of a woman who told about blindfolding her husband and using a grapefruit with a hole in it to pretend to give him a blowjob. So I thought, I need to get a grapefruit. And I did, and it actually worked, but it doesn't feel like a blowjob. But it did, you can try it if you want. Yeah, I did some weird shit as a horny teenager. I remember at around 11, I masturbated outside together with a group of boys. And later, after masturbating outside, we would watch porn together. And they actually showed me some pretty hardcore stuff. And when it was my turn to show a video, I only showed like pictures of like boobs, ass and titties. I was really underdeveloped in the porn department. But actually a year later, I would end up making my own porn in Microsoft Paint. I googled for pictures of penises and cut them out and pasted them onto profile pictures, faces of my female classmates, and then I masturbated to that. I was like, oh yeah, penis in your face. Can you imagine doing something like that and seriously doing something like that and people finding out? That may have been the most embarrassing thing I've done. And I also know now that it's actually illegal because it does count as child porn. Still talking about sex and also dating a little bit, I happen to be someone who doesn't believe in polyamory. I think our brains haven't evolved to love multiple people at once. It's also never been successful throughout history. I like to have monogamous relationships. But maybe I just don't know because I've only had monogamous relationships. Sometimes I have a monogamous relationship with a woman, and then after that, she has a monogamous relationship with the other woman as I recover from my monogamous relationship. And then right after that, I have a monogamous relationship with that other woman too. I really think it's great. I love monogamy. Sometimes I have monogamous relationships with 5 different people in the same week. And then after that, I have a monogamous relationship again with those same people, but just monogamous. I think it's great. I love monogamy. I really am trying to date now, but it's rough out there. But recently I met a woman on the train and we clicked. And I managed to get her number and I WhatsApped her. And she WhatsApped me back and she used words, I guess. But her sentences didn't make much sense. But I did manage to arrange a date and we went on a date. I was really happy. I walked up to her, said hi, and she said, "Ho," which was already a little bit weird, but I didn't think much of it. And when I went in for a hug, she went, "Ha, buh, buh." And I thought, okay, sorry, but what does "ha, buh, buh" mean? I don't understand. And she goes, "Ha, buh, buh, ha, buh, buh." I go, okay, well, whatever. And I got us some drinks. And we sat down and had a date. She has a really amazing aura, like a deeply happy, sparkling eyes and a great attitude. Really great date. And she did eat the flowers I gave her. And near the end of the date, she placed a large rock at my feet. I did understand that I think she likes me. But all the way at the end of the date, she suddenly says, "I'm sorry, but can I talk?" And I say, whoa, I was starting to think you couldn't, but go ahead and talk. And she says, "You see, this is what it is. It actually, I'm trying to decolonize love, so I don't use the colonial language when I date." And then everything clicked for me, and I was like, oh, I'm sorry, but I'm not into that woke shit. It's a shame though, it's a shame. Not that long ago, I was just chilling on my sofa listening to the instrumentals of Taylor Swift when I saw a mouse trip and fall off the kitchen counter. And I thought, hey, let's call up my ex-girlfriend and tell her some fun facts. So I called up my ex-girlfriend and said, hey, I just saw a mouse trip and fall off the kitchen counter, so I thought I'd call you up and tell you some fun facts. And she goes, oh, okay, whoa, is that tripping mouse still there? And I go, yeah, let me tell you the fact. Did you know giraffes are the only mammals that can't yawn? She goes, oh, whoa, really? Didn't know that. And I go, yeah, well, I wouldn't know for sure, of course, because giraffes don't get bored around me. Well, one more fact. Did you know men need to ejaculate 24 times a month to get a lower chance at prostate cancer? And she goes, oh, whoa, really? I didn't know that. And I go, yeah, and it's the 30th today, and I'm at 4 this month. I don't think I'm going to make it alone. She goes, are you hitting on me? And I go, yeah, okay, I give up, never mind. Let me tell you the last fact, one more fact. Did you know, before the notion of color blindness existed, scientists thought dogs could change the colors of things in their mind. They ran tests on dogs, and dogs couldn't tell the colors apart properly. So they thought, surely these dogs are having some sort of psychedelic experience where the colors are changing in their mind. It wasn't until later, till colorblindness was discovered, that they discovered dogs are actually colorblind. So as you've noticed, I like fun facts. And partly because of this, also because of other things, people have told me that I may be on the autism spectrum. And I also have trouble taking things that are meant figuratively to literally and the other way around. It's a real problem for me. So the other day, I'm at the dentist and I'm in a chair that leans all the way back, and the dentist approaches me with his tools and he says, why don't you open your mouth? So my autistic brain thinks for a minute and I go, Barack Obama shouldn't have taken the troops out of Iraq. And I think that in contemporary Western society, feminism isn't relevant. All minority groups have by now found their place in society. And this excessive pursuit for equality leads to, and he goes, no, just open your mouth for the procedure. And then I realized, took it literally, figuratively, did it again. It is hard actually, this autism spectrum stuff and schizophrenia, not being neurotypical, but I actually am really, really social. And I used to go out a lot. And when I used to go out, I would like to take girls home for what they think is a regular one-night stand. But when I get them home, I text my buddy for a challenge on what to do with them. So once I got this girl home, and I text my buddy, I say, I got a girl, what do I do, what do I do? And he texts me back and he says, get her to say, no, it's your nose. So I think for a moment, then I go to the bathroom and punch myself in my nose till it starts bleeding all over. And with this bleeding nose, I go back to the bedroom and I say, my heart bleeds for you, my love. And she goes, oh, that's really sweet. Also, your nose is bleeding all over. I go, fuck! I do some quick thinking. And I point to my nose and I say, this thing, oh, I think this might just be a huge pimple with holes in it. And she goes, No, it's your nose. While going out a lot and partying, drinking with friends, I figured something out. I figured out I could get blackout drunk and still function quite normally, still do things and organize things. So I could organize something that future me then finds out about it. He didn't know blackout drunk me did. Here I saw a lot of opportunity. I thought, whatever my plan is going to be, I have to get past the point of blackout drunk first, so future me doesn't know I made that plan and did that prank. So I thought I'm gonna plan a prank, do something, but first I have to get blackout drunk. So I bought a lot of vodka, started drinking heavy, got blacked out past the point of blackout drunk, and the next thing I remember is, this is going to be epic, I'm at the office and I'm in the middle of a presentation, apparently on the top 10 frogs. I just remember myself saying, and at number 9 of the top 10 frogs we have, and I look at the slides and I go, Keropi, appears to be from the Hello Kitty universe, click. He is green, he is bipedal, and he can talk. And I try not to show that I just had a blackout, and I just continue with my presentation. So I go click. And at number 8 we have Michelangelo, the Ninja Turtle. He's green, he is bipedal, and he can talk. Click. At number 7 we have Prince Nassim. He's green, he's quadrupedal, and he can talk. At number 6 we have Kermit the Frog. He's green, he's bipedal, and he can talk. At number 5 we have the Crazy Frog. He's not green, he's bipedal, and he can't exactly talk. At number 4 we have Godzilla. Is green, bipedal, can't talk. At number 3 we have Michigan J Frog. He's green, he's bipedal, and he can talk. At number 2 we have Henk Kamp, former Minister of Dutch Foreign Affairs. He's not green, a bipedal, can talk. And at number 1 of the top 10 frogs we have Frog. It's green, bipedal, and can talk.